Yes, a very good morning and welcome to Smart Means Business. I'm Andre Bariji and definitely to 2024. And definitely these poses quite a challenge, when it comes to some of the events that have actually been happening and to what degree have you actually been in position to take advantage of those, events as a business person and as a person that is just in a career. And today we definitely going to be highlighting all around the world for the year 2024 and what significance do they mean and what's their growth and development, most especially and zeroing large. So there is a lot, and the political landscape has also proved to be. And who is the person that is suffering as a result of that? That is Africa. That is, So how are we going to take advantage, of the destabilized geopolitical tensions from a global perspective and see how we can take them to our own advantage? Because we're not really certain what is going to be, what the next 5 years are going to be. And countries like Vietnam, I guess so, getting into the elections. So even we're heading into the phase of excessive campaign, are getting ready for the 2026 elections. Focused through all the day. Now, we're going to be really looking into as we dig deep back, taking a look at what has really been transpiring. Now, definitely, we shall be starting off with Uganda, taking a look at what have been those biggest events that have actually into the country. And definitely, we cannot talk about this and we eliminate the commissioning of the Karuma hydropower plant. That is in September 2024. Uganda inaugurated its largest hydroelectric power facility, that is the Karuma hydropower. And the project situated definitely onto the River Nile is going to be very essential, most especially when it comes to boosting the capacity of the power generated. And this is approximately about 600 watts, megawatts rather. And it was constructed at a cost of about 1.7 billion United States dollars. Now, financing included a 1.4 billion loan from China's Exim Bank, of course, covering 85% of the total cost. And now this project definitely significantly is going to boost, the electricity generation as we can see. Now, the loan of about 1.4 billion, like we said, was obtained from the Chinese Exim Bank. And as a result, covering 85%, according to the reports, covering 85% that is of the total cost. Now, this project is going to be boosting what we call electricity generation, the capacity, and also in relation to affordable electricity. But how realistic is really this? Because we still have a huge number of households in the various places of the country, scattered all the way, who don't have access to electricity. And majority have decided definitely to embark onto other means like solar, biogas in most cases, in some scenarios, in some families. But even those that are in position to have this power in the areas, it's not sustainable, according to what we see. It's not sustainable. So there are lots of controversies on the discussions that will be developing definitely in line with that. Now, advancements in the East African crude oil pipeline were also witnessed, were some of the biggest stories that we've really encountered in 2024, because we know that despite facing the financing challenges and the activist protests, Uganda definitely plans to commence with operations of the world's longest heated oil pipeline by 2027. Now, the 1,443 kilometer pipeline with an estimated cost of about $4 billion is definitely expected to facilitate the production and of approximately 230,000 barrels. Yeah, 230,000 barrels that is going to be approximately obtained from the mine. And we are talking about 230,000 barrels on a daily basis. This is going to be something that is going to really be very instrumental. And the World Bank definitely came out with a report, and it was trying to kind of shed a picture how the extraction of oil in Uganda will definitely boost the economy. Actually, they talked about the double digits, according to the reports still in that. Now, barrels retained for domestic use and, okay, 230,000 barrels will be generated per day, with 60,000 barrels retained. That is for domestic use, and 170,000 barrels designed for export. So you can really see this. 230,000 barrels per day, 60,000 barrels that will be used domestically into, and then the rest is going to be exported. And about 170,000. So it's like 60%. 60% is going to be exported. So and that is advantageous because it will be help us to stabilize the forex reserves, and also stabilize the shilling, which the central bank is actually be doing whatever it takes to ensure that it is in the right place and placed efficiently. All right. Now, what are the economic growth projections? What do they really indicate? The International Monetary Fund projects that the commencement of the commercial crude oil production will propel that is Uganda's economic growth into double digits. Yeah, exactly. That was the IMF that say that it's going to be as a result of, Uganda is going to obtain double digits. So that means the economy might grow because there is a projection of about 6% by 2025. So what is the projected economic growth come 2027 when we start actually to mine the soil? It's going to be quite remarkable. We could actually even drive up to 7% if there is a possibility of that. And now this is quite very crucial for you to position yourself. How are you going to really benefit from this? There is something that you need to look into from that way. Okay, now the International Monetary Fund, like we say, projects that Uganda's economy will be propelled to double digits with the extraction of crude oil, and then Uganda's economic growth into double digits, an expansion of about 10.8%. 10.8% is anticipated in the fiscal year 2025, 2026. That is from a previous estimate of about 6.2%. So you can clearly see how that is going to affect the production. Okay, now Uganda is expected to begin the oil production and exportation from its western fields with the plans to actually pump at least 240,000 barrels. Yes, 240,000 barrels. That is daily, capitalizing on estimated reserves of about 6.5 barrels. So that is quite very amazing. Now, of course, still there are challenges in financing the ECO project. Of course, the $5 billion United States dollar has definitely encountered a lot of difficulties, despite all the efforts, it has faced a lot of difficulties now, leading to partners to increase their equity contributions, notably, and 6 Western banks, including BNP, Paribas, and Barclays, declined to finance the project due to environmental concerns. In the response, we see Total Energies committed an additional additional $400 million, and Uganda contributed about 45 million United States dollars, with Tanzania, of course, expected to match this very amount. Now, this is very crucial when it comes to the cooperation from the regional perspective. You know, this is way beyond just promoting trade, but also strengthening relations between Tanzania and Uganda. And of course, we have seen the various, most of our relations with other countries in the East African bloc has actually been questioned. But with Tanzania, we actually have established a stable relationship, and the oil will actually be effectively transported to the areas of desired influence. So we're seeing that that is yet to happen. Now, let's also talk about the termination and renewal of the standard gauge railway contracts. Now, in January 2023, Uganda terminated its contract, that is with China Harbour Engineering Company, for the construction of the standard gauge railway. Now, this was due to the prolonged delays. And we know that once any infrastructure that is being put in place exceeds its intended completion period, I was going to say gestation period, but the complete period, then it means that the cost of that infrastructure is going to be increasing, because we considering the devaluation, you know, the value of money. You know, we know that the shilling gets a little bit, sometimes it's a little bit weak against the United States dollar. So once we have delays into that, once any infrastructure is delayed, so the cost of accomplishment is way too high. You know, if you to look at it that way, the cost of accomplishment is way too high. And remember, as the global inflation keeps on soaring, you know, the different central banks are doing whatever it takes to raise the value of the currencies. Now, what does that mean? So as Uganda prolongs the construction of any of the infrastructure projects, in the future, when there is need to borrow money to accomplish the remaining work, perhaps 60% was actually the one may be executed. How sure are you that you're going to borrow this money when the dollar's value is still at the same rate? Of course, there will be a difference, you know, because the Federal Reserve Bank always ensures to stabilize inflation and keep the dollar stable. So this affects countries like Uganda, you know, which prolong the construction of the viable infrastructures. Take a look at that. The more you delay, you have no idea what the dollar will be, you know, in the next 5 to 10 years. You have no idea about that. So we can really accomplishing is very amazing. So that led to the termination of that contract now due to the prolonged delays. Yeah. Now, subsequently, in May 2023, the government engaged Turkey's Yapı Merkez Group, which is a new contractor to actually for the 273-kilometer the Kampala-Malaba section, with a construction that is expected to actually commence. Of course, this very year, the project aims to enhance the regional connectivity and trade at the same time. Yeah, so very interesting. Now, still in line with the crude oil, Uganda National Oil Company strategic moves. Now, in March 2024, this very year, the Uganda National Oil Company, that is, began selling petroleum products to oil marketing companies in Tanzania and Uganda. And now this initiative is actually part of the 5-year deal with Vital. Yeah, with Vital. Of course, Vital Bahrain, that's the company that they're partnering with, and is aiming to strengthen that is, its position in the regional oil market. So that all is going to be really witnessed. Let us see how 2025 will really turn out to be like. And now we have the recognition, recognition as prime investment destination. That is Uganda. That was recognized to be one of the countries that are the best investment destinations. And now this was 2024. Now Uganda was named as the best investment destination in Africa and East Africa by the annual investment meeting that aim that is in the United Arab Emirates, for 2 consecutive years. That is 2023 and 2024. Now, this accolade reflects the country's favorable business climate characterized by political stability and sustained economic growth. Yeah, so United Arab Emirates. By the way, later on in Caribbean East Africa, we shall get to realize that actually the United Arab Emirates seems to have surpassed, that is China and the United States of America, when it comes to the investments that they do have on the East African community. You know, because these are investments that are now worth about 97 million United States dollars. So they're kind of outpacing China and the United States of America. So what does that really mean? The shift of dominancy in Africa, you know, the battle for the resources in Africa, you know, the various Russia, China, the United States of America, the United Arab Emirates. Now, later on, we shall also see India, you know, being one of those countries that are actually trying to push it so hard for Uganda. But that will be when we get out of this break shortly. And maybe lastly here, the emergence of prominent startups. Now, Uganda's startup ecosystem witnessed a significant growth in 2024 with companies like SafeBorder, Numida, Accenture, and Kasha making notable strides in the sectors ranging from fintech, talking about e-commerce. And these startups are attracting major investments and are expected to contribute approximately to 2.9 billion to Uganda's gross domestic product. So that is a very friendly aspect. Well, that is it for now. Let me go for the break, and I'll be returning to take a look at what have been the biggest stories that have really transpired on the East African region. Stick around.
Smart 24, driving business.
These days, our homes are no longer just the places we live. It's where we attend meetings, go to class, keep each other safe, and entertain ourselves. To do this smoothly, you need a reliable internet connection. Buy the MTN WakaNet router, which connects up to 32 devices and gets a free 40 GB data bundle at only 149,000 shillings. Or buy the MTN WakaNet MiFi at only 75,000 shillings and enjoy a free 15 GB bundle to stream, study, work, and play on the go. Visit any MTN service center to buy the MTN WakaNet router or MiFi and enjoy the internet that does amazing things.
Are you a woman entrepreneur or a woman owning a business and looking for affordable financing to scale up your business? Look no further than the Grow Loan. Grow Loan targets female entrepreneurs nationwide. Key features include a minimum loan amount of 4 million and a maximum loan amount of 200 million shillings, a maximum interest rate not exceeding 10.5% per annum, a loan repayment period not exceeding 24 months. All Grow Loan borrowers must comply with the Grow Project environmental and social standards. Special incentives are available for borrowers that are refugees or from the refugee host communities, people living with disabilities, and women entrepreneurs from the underserved or minority groups. To apply, contact any of the 6 participating financial institutions. Contact us for more information or visit our website at www.grow.go.ug. The Grow Loan is an intervention under the Grow Project, a Government of Uganda project financed by the World Bank and implemented by the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development and the Private Sector Foundation Uganda. Grow, generating growth opportunities and productivity for women enterprises.
If you play a game of power,
Chelsea is rich.
I didn't lie to you. I only withheld the information.
any minute
me take it. I'm going to tell Charles.
Be prepared to lose it all.
I'd rather be buried alive.
Damalai makes her boldest power play.
Very dramatic.
In season 2, Monday to Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Only on Pal Magic Prime, DSTV channel 148, Go TV channel 303.
No matter your entertainment needs, Showmax has a selection of plans for you to choose from. The Showmax entertainment plan is perfect for you and your family. Watch Showmax originals, hit international and local series and movies. If you're a solo streamer, you can get all this on one mobile device. And for all the die-hard PL fans, catch all the live games on the Showmax Premier League mobile plan. Showmax has your back. Sign up today and let your streaming good life begin.
Roll up, roll up. Let's go. Welcome to DSTV Land. The most awesomest place to spend your holidays. There's loads to explore with something for everyone.
Amazing.
All the best shows.
Wow.
All the best buzz.
It is pretty great.
So don't miss out and let the holiday fun begin.
It's a blast.
Only on DSTV.
Rhoda Events Manager Makulatende, Ebikuduko Mumanga, Consati, Gasatamo Jesse, Ginger Mogrica Joshua Crowns, Twingino Makanko, Pyramid Matano, Mustai, those Wempakas of PTPG, Fireworks, Segi Waguga Namatala Gamiaza, Mia, Gafone Niaba Ibe Kulembedramo, Palazzo, Space Diana, Kabako, Gravitum Tuju, Kaziwe Kapo, Adongomula, Mikisa, Yaso, Live Band in Labanchi, Oginam Torogomo, Yepem Tuarevi, Amane Kumitano, Bouncing Castles Webidi, Sakasi, Fesi Painting, Ejitani Yoga de Chibanga, Yo, Homkenya Mukuru, Agena Mama Rebecca in Tuala Kanaka.
Kansoke mbebazira kubakubira nti omwezi guno tujja kuba n'ebikuduko kyebeta amaganana tugenda okwebaza Uncle Dan omutani wange ategeka ebikuduko bino kusobola okusamusamu abantu
Bino bitegekebwa Rhoda Events Managers. Smart 24, driving business.
Well, exactly 7:30, and we'll be back from the break. Now, at this particular time, now we're heading to what has it been like for East Africa? You know, we've seen Uganda, now we're taking a look at East Africa at large. Now, recently, there was an agreement that is between the Kenya Airways and the Adani Group. This is an Indian company, and this was worth about $1.3 billion. Yes. And in this way, the Adani was to have influence over the Kenya Airways. But due to the strikes in Kenya, this was definitely rejected. Now, in July 2024, allegations surfaced that the Kenya Airports Authority had signed a $1.85 billion deal with India's Adani Group, that is to manage Jomo Kenyatta. Actually, it was to manage Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, and that is for 30 years. But following the public protests, the Kenyan High Court temporarily suspended the proposal. That was in September this very year, 2024. And now, additionally, still in September 2024, Adani Group had Africa 50 secured. That is, it secured a $1.3 billion concession. That is to build power transmission lines in Kenya. However, still in November 2024, just last month, the President William Ruto definitely cancelled both the airport and the power line deals, citing corruption concerns into that. You know, so the Adani Group and Indian. So we've been seeing all these. If you've been watching Smart News Business, we've been definitely having some coverage on some of these stories. You know, they're not actually new. You know, we've seen them, but we're just trying to have a review. And at the end of the day, we can be able to project what 2025 will likely be like if we are to look at it in that line. But also what you need to understand is the East African region, the East African region's economic potential is also increased increased, and it is projected to head to about 5.9% to about 6% come 2025. That is so. East Africa continues to lead Africa's economic momentum, with growth projected to rise to 5.1 in 2024 and 5.7 in 2025. Yeah, that's almost. So we can actually push a little bit to about 0.3% and reach it to about 6%. Even 7% is actually very possible if we to see it that way. Now, East Africa has proved that, and it's continuing to be that powerhouse for Africa. When it comes to economic growth and development. Now, still on that notice, we've been seeing, of course, e-commerce is something that has been it has been the gospel that has been preached all over. When it comes to the digitalization, and I'll say. There was a big story that happened where Jumia actually restructured. It exited from the markets of Tunisia, South Africa, and you know what happened? They decided to focus on Nigeria, which is their core market. So they realized that the way Africa responds, the tactics of marketing in Africa are way different from how it is done in Europe and many other countries. So that was quite a disadvantage. Now, Jumia, leading African e-commerce platform, has been restructuring its operations, and that is in October 2024. It exited markets like Tunisia and South Africa, and it decided to focus on its core market, that is Nigeria, as we see it happening that way. Yeah, so that is a fact in there. So what does this really mean for the local e-commerce platforms that are being managed? In Uganda, we have quite a number of them. I've actually had a chance to interact with some of the developers of some of these applications, of some of these e-commerce platforms. So what does that really mean? If the leading e-commerce platform in Africa is restructuring, of course, it is trying to show us that most of the African markets are definitely less profitable. Now, the question is e-commerce the answer to African challenges, or could it be the issue when it comes to linking the products to the final buyers? Now, those are the questions that we need to understand. Maybe do Africans prefer heading straight to the shop physically and purchase the material that they want to purchase? Now, there are lots of questions that we need to think about, from that line. Now, we also see a scenario for the increased, that is the United Arab Emirates' surge in Africa, investment surge. Now, we saw that the United Arab Emirates has emerged as a significant investor in Africa, of course, outpacing both China and the United States, And now we're talking about investments that are totaling about 97 billion United States dollars. That is an estimation in 2022 and 2023. So we are now getting to discover the new potential investors. Where are they? So what does that mean? And I'm trying to understand how is this going to be perceived by the other parties, the likes of the United States and China, and Russia, and other countries, and Europe. Their influence on the African continent. And now we're seeing the United Arab Emirates and Arab, Asia coming in to take over this. Adani Group, India, as we've seen in the story before, when they wanted to sign an agreement with the Kenya Airport Authority to manage the airport for 30 years. What does that really mean? What would that really mean to have an Indian company managing an African airport of a country that is a second developing, that is ranked in the second developing nations, second world nations. So there is a lot of influence that is coming in. Okay, it's advantageous in some kind of a way. But then if we to flip this to the other side of the coin, well, it is a bit draining. It's really a bit draining because managing that means all the money that is collected in the airport on a daily basis will definitely be getting back to India. That is a disadvantage. And I believe that's what Ruto really based on to say that I don't think I will take on this deal. I don't think I will take on this deal. He decided to cancel it. Yeah. Now, 97 billion investments, surpassing China and the United States of America. And now, there is also been a key issue, most especially when it comes to the date issue in the African countries in the sub-Saharan region. Now, the sub-Saharan countries have actually faced increasing debt challenges, according to reports, with borrowing about $200 billion over the past 2 decades, leading to unsustainable debt situations. Imagine 200 billion United States dollars, Now, this state burden has impeded that is growth, reducing the funds for the crucial infrastructure and development. So if you can't see it that way, it means a lot. But then the question is, what does this really mean for Uganda? Because we know that its economy has actually exhibited significant growth and real GDP accelerating from 5.3% in the financial 2022-2023 to an estimated that is about 6% this very financial year. Now, this upward trend is expected to continue with the projections of 6% growth in 2024 and 7% in 2025 that has been driven by investments in the oil sector and infrastructure development at the same time. Now, of course, this economic growth translates into a number of aspects: improved employment opportunities, enhanced infrastructure. But of course, that still poses us a question: is that we have a scenario where the figures indicate growth, but when you get on ground, it's a different story. Measuring it in the income per capita, it's quite a very it's not fair, So that means that the concentration of this money is into the hands of the few. So they control this money, they control the resources. And with the selfishness and greed that comes in along, the majority suffer. The figures indicate growth, but on ground it's a different story. If you get to realize that, does it relate with your day-to-day life? When you look into that, seeing most especially we being a landlocked country, so that means we incur a lot of costs, and those costs come back to we, the final buyers, if you to translate it that way. All right. Now, we also see that the year has witnessed quite several controversies, like we've seen the issue with Kenya and the Adani Group and the Echo, and some other company, and which was also trying to sign a contract to manage the Jomo Kenyatta Airport, but still Ruto comes out and he decided to cancel it. So the year has actually had quite lots of that. Now, the question is, what do these events really signify for Uganda, if we were to see it that way? First of all, in Kenya, we see that there has been an increase in the influence of civil society organizations when it comes to influencing policy. How is it like for Uganda? Kenya has actually demonstrated that the civil society organizations can now take they take action. They influence policy. They influence quite a huge number of political related activities in the country of Kenya, and all for the good of the citizens, if you to look at it that way. All right. Now, talking about the Jomo Kenyatta Airport and the Adani Group, while these events occurred in Kenya, they resonate with Ugandans because highlighting the importance of transparency and what we call public engagement in large-scale infrastructure project. This is a large infrastructure project, so it needs some critical thinking, planning, thought-through aspect, because at the end of the day, we need to understand who is benefiting more than the other. Who's benefiting more than the other. Yeah, so that is what we see. Now, highlighting the importance of transparency and the public engagement in the large-scale infrastructure projects. Now, the controversies underscore the need for vigilancy, that is to ensure that the foreign investments align the national interests and the benefit of the local communities. So, and that has been actually I feel like it's the missing gap that the foreign investment benefits the foreigners. The locals don't really benefit. So, and that means all the money that is collected from the foreigners is expatriated in the diaspora, where some of these companies are best, and they have come to establish branches in Uganda. So a lot is actually lost. Now, talking about the October incident of the Jumia restructuring, Jumia exited the markets, that is in South Africa, Indonesia, to concentrate on core markets like Nigeria. Now, this decision reflects what we call a strategic shift to optimize the operations and focus on profitability. So the focus is definitely on the profitability to that. Now, although it did not exit the Ugandan market, its restructuring signals what we call potential shifts in service delivery on the market focus. So that means for the developers in Uganda out there, this should be the core, it should be at the core of any of the developments that you're trying to put across there. That the restructuring signals potential shifts in service delivery and the market focus. So the e-commerce platforms that we have currently in Uganda, to what degree have they tried to adapt to the market demands? That is very key. That is very key. So Jumia really showed the way to that. And this is the way any other platform can actually embark on if they are to experience profitability. At the end of the day, it's about the profitability. Now, Ugandan consumers and businesses relying on the e-commerce platforms may experience the changes in service dynamics, necessitating adaptability to the evolving market conditions. Exactly what I've just mentioned. Adaptability to the market conditions is very, very crucial to that, because what you apply in America, what you apply in Europe, what you apply in Asia, what you apply in Africa is way different because we're talking about people that have different cultures entirely. Because they can look at Africa's aspect, communal aspect. We're socialists from that. So if you're coming with the if you're designing an e-commerce platform, that should actually be at the back of your mind. Actually, e-commerce seems to succeed more in countries where capitalism dominates about 70% of the economy. Try to think about that. Okay, you may talk about Alibaba, talking about China, but China also, of late, is now starting to, have a little bit of shift where we see companies, for example, Tesla has a branch in China, talking about Apple assembled in that way. So there is some bit of capitalism, and that explains why Alibaba is also one of the most leading enterprises that is in the world, most especially in the e-commerce. But it all comes from that perspective. Now, what about United Arab Emirates' surge in East Africa? Like I told you, the investments now are worth 97 billion United States dollars. Now they have surpassed China and the United States of America. Now, Uganda has actually benefited from the foreign investments, notably in the energy sector, So we're now seeing how these investments, the 97 billion, where is Uganda's part in that? And how do we position ourselves to be a part of that? Now, Uganda has benefited from foreign investments, notably in the energy sector. Now, the commissioning of the role of the Karuma hydropower project, a 600 megawatt from China's Exim Bank, exemplifies the impact of such investments. And that is on the country's energy capacity and infrastructure development. And also, it gives us options. We have now options. In case it didn't work out here, we can actually think about having new friends. Because if you also get to realize most of our goods seem to have a huge market in the United Arab Emirates, the bananas that are exported in there, the milk, and so many more. So we stand really huge chance to tap into this, the 97 billion And I believe the latest report will actually have increased to about 130 billion. I'm expecting an increase of about at least 25% of what we have so far. Now, the debt aspect, sub-Saharan nations, like we say, 200 billion debt. That's a lot of money. Now, the accumulation of debt has actually impeded growth, reducing funds or crucial infrastructure services. And one of the reasons that's why the reason of unstable infrastructure, because we know that any economic growth to actually take place, the infrastructure development must be really on point. But now imagine the money that you're supposed to use for infrastructure, you're now using that very money to clear up debts, which are increasing every other day. So that is something that also we, as Africa, we need to really look into. How do we utilize these loans that we have actually obtained? It's very funny how the recent summits that were happening in Uganda, the non-alignment movement and the G77, I was actually thinking a bit. I'm saying, okay, we are coming together with our greed, as some of the countries in the non-alignment movement, with the greed, selfishness, because when this money is borrowed, is actually invested into private investments of some top government officials in some of the military-backed regimes. So think about that from that way. So you borrow this money, you use it for personal growth, not for the nation's infrastructure growth. And now you have the audacity to sit down and tell the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund that, you know what, try to limit on how you lend me the money. And that has kept the captivity of Africa all the way, paying debt every other day, instead of utilizing these funds for infrastructure growth, which can actually be very vital in the future of the growth of this country. Think about that in that way. Now, for Uganda's case, because Uganda's public debt also increased due to infrastructure expansion, while investments in sectors like oil and energy are expected to drive the future growth, managing debt levels, which remains critical to maintaining the economic stability and ensuring that the benefits of growth are widely shared. That is among the different Ugandans out there. And yes, as I wind up this, now I have what we call expert predictions for 2025, looking at Africa, East Africa, and also Uganda at large. Where do we really fall? Now, looking ahead, experts anticipate the continued growth, that is in East Africa, with about projections to 5.7% in 2025. But these investments, I believe, if we had to have at least 6% growth or 6.5% growth, this is going to call for a decision, most especially which foreign investor are we choosing to align with? Which foreign investor are we choosing to align with? Take a look at America. America looks at Africa as a problem that it needs to solve. Yet China looks at Africa as a potential trading partner. Think about that. The United Arab Emirates also perceives Africa differently, and we've had quite long relations with them. China actually also suppressed investments in Africa. I'm not really certain of the figures, but it outweighed the United States of America. That is from the African perspective, despite the United Arab Emirates deciding to dominate the East African region, which is holding the momentum of economic growth for Africa. Like we've seen projections to about 5.9% in that line. Now, looking ahead, experts anticipate continued economic growth, that is in East Africa, with projections of 5.7%, that is in 2025. Now, in Uganda, the economy is expected to expand by 7%, that is come 2025. This is something that is being enhanced by the stronger regional growth and investments in the oil sector. But however, the challenges, of course, such as debt, corruption, still a huge challenge, losing quite huge number of trillions each other year due to the corruption. Of course, recently, one of the key issues definitely that is on the talk right now is corruption, that is in Uganda, and how it has stunted the growth. And it explains why we see quite massive anti-corruption bodies that have been established all over. And what does that really entailing increased government expenditure. The more you create a section, the more you create another organization within an organization, you create another organization, you're definitely increasing the budget, period, that way. So that is what we have for now. Let's go for the break, and I'm returning with our business tips and quotes and the business update. Stick around.
Smart 24, driving business. Get all the football on DSTV Cutback for only 110,000 shillings per month.
These days, our homes are no longer just the places we live. It's where we attend meetings, go to class, keep each other safe, and entertain ourselves. To do this smoothly, you need a reliable internet connection. Buy the MTN WakaNet router, which connects up to 32 devices and gets a free 40 GB data bundle at only 149,000 shillings. Or buy the MTN WakaNet MiFi at only 75,000 shillings and enjoy a free 15 GB bundle to stream, study, work, and play on the go. Visit any MTN service center to buy the MTN WakaNet router or MiFi and enjoy the internet that does amazing things.
If you play a game of power,
Chelsea is rich.
I didn't lie to you. I only withheld the information.
Any minute I get, I'm going to tell Charles.
be prepared to lose it all.
I'd rather be buried alive.
Damalai makes her boldest power play.
Very dramatic.
In season 2, Monday to Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Only on Pal Magic Prime. DSTV channel 148. Go TV channel 303.
Are you a woman entrepreneur or a woman owning a business and looking for affordable financing to scale up your business? Look no further than the Grow Loan. Grow Loan targets female entrepreneurs nationwide. Key features include a minimum loan amount of 4 million and a maximum loan amount of 200 million shillings, a maximum interest rate not exceeding 10.5% per annum, a loan repayment period not exceeding 24 months. All Grow Loan borrowers must comply with the Grow Project environmental and social standards. Special incentives are available for borrowers that are refugees or from the refugee host communities, people living with disabilities, and women entrepreneurs from the underserved or minority groups. To apply, contact any of the 6 participating financial institutions. Contact us for more information or visit our website at www.grow.go.ug. The Grow Loan is an intervention under the Grow Project, a Government of Uganda project financed by the World Bank and implemented by the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development and the Private Sector Foundation Uganda. Grow, generating growth opportunities and productivity for women enterprises.
Roda Events Manager abantu bembale babaletedde ebikunduko amagana na konsati embale SS Grounds nga lumu January 2025 sawa 2 ez'okumakya tuyingira bakeyo etunakoyera nga line-up kuliko Palaso, Ravito Butujo, Catherine Sasha, Kabako, Nofia Yuji, Dorothy Donna, Steve O, Asta, Warren Trixie n'abayimbi abalala bangi okuyingira mutwalo gumu abaana 15 VIP mitwalo 2 VVIP mitwalo 3 emmeeza security ya Uganda Police booking emmeeza yo ku 0703 203 343 Sairasi ya Gikwata Bouncing Castles Sakasi Face Painting abaana tobalekayo bino nga bitegekeddwa Roda Events Managers.
Chichi baby ababbi bakutte abapoliisi tulina obeera mu nsonga zino. Ababbi bakutte abapoliisi.
This is Matoma and well there scored against the club with which he won the title more than a decade ago, and it's the 100th goal.
Upgrade to become BFF with the Premier League and enjoy football's best moments at only 90,000 shillings. Go TV Uganda. Love it.
Smart 24, driving business.
Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, is a picture-square country surrounded by rolling hills that sigh a profound effect upon the beams of the horizon. Uganda's capital city of Seven Hills basks of colonial, cultural, and religious significance. Over the years, its infrastructure has tested the wave of technology and development. The city is a bustling metropolis with more than 1 million people racing from congested street slopes to colorful markets. Uganda's hospitality nature breeds throughout 8 different tribes ranging from Bantu to Nilotic, sharing their happiness and different kinds of local foods. The phantom white Rwenzori mountain ranges soar into the sky, a mist blanket shrouds its floors. The extinct Elgon Mountain, with the largest volcanic base in the world. The rivers are the arteries of the forest beds with the source of the longest river, the Nile. As it flows, it grows and smashes into the rocks in a frenzy. The whooshing waves attract the whitewater rafters and bungee jumpers as they experience the adventure at its prime. Uganda experiences tropical climate in 2 seasons, the wet and dry seasons influenced by the topography of high mountains and hills, with the equator running across Uganda mitigated by the altitude. The game parks of Uganda are filled with various species of fauna and flora. The thick, vibrant verdant forests and grasslands snake their way through the flows of Mother Earth. Uganda truly has a remarkable, astounding signature mark from the other African countries. Let your destination voice rhyme with the rich culture and fascinating scenery of Uganda's beautiful nature.
Smart 24, driving business.
From the moment that I sent in the bid and checked my email every day and found out that I won, all the way through this process, there have been 4 million moments of frustration, exhaustion, contemplation of how to move forward, essentially. But I never felt like this wasn't the right place for me to be and that this wasn't the right project for me to work on or community to live in. Hello and welcome to my €1 home that was recently renovated. The name is Casa del Arquitecto, House of the Architect, named for my father. My name is Meredith Tabone. I am 44 years old. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and 4.5 years ago in June of 2019, I purchased one of the €1 homes in Sambuca di Sicilia. I first heard about the €1 homes because a friend of mine sent me an article from CNN that was published. He thought of me because he knew I was Sicilian and that I was thinking of purchasing a property in Europe. When I saw the name Sambuca, took a look, and it was the same village that my great-grandfather came from in 1902 to the United States. I'd never made a trip to Sicily before, only mainland Italy, but ended up putting in a bid sight unseen on one of the homes that was up for auction. A few months later, got the email from the municipality letting me know that I won the bid on the home that I tried to win at auction. So the condition of this property when I first purchased it was dire at best. There was no electricity, there was no running water. Every single room had a different level of flooring. There was an asbestos roof, and there was probably 2 feet of pigeon poop on the floor. 1, 2.
Smart 24, driving business.
Turn your house into the GoTV Kids Club. Your GoTV package is your ticket to entry, and there's plenty for everyone. Discover new places, play along with wacky characters, and learn fun facts and essential skills. So get and stay connected to GoTV for 24-hour access to the GoTV Kids Club at home and on the go with GoTV Stream. GoTV. Love it.
Bulu magic is my joy. Ono bulu magic wange. Ayo Taraba kumabala atukuza nonyirirawo kirako enyange tayisa bubi fabriki kyonna kyekiri kigwa lwa bulu magic is my choice. Ono bulu magic ye wange. And the bulu magic is my choice. Hey, ono bulu magic ye wange.
Smart 24, driving business.
Well, exactly 6 minutes past the hour of 8. This is Martin Means Business. I'm Andrew Barigi. Well, now this is the time where we get so inspired. In Smart Means Business, we believe that one of the best ways for you to kickstart your day is you start yourself motivated with a quote, an inspiration quote from one of your favorite. It could be something from your favorite entrepreneur. You know, it may not be necessarily an entrepreneur, but it could be somebody in the political scene. Or somebody in a career that you really admire to be with, or you admire to also take on a career because you were inspired by somebody who was also once in a career and they became apprentices. No, they became experts at everything that they do. Well, let's get inspired for this. Well, now heading straight into another report now. Let's take a look at what have been the recent developments on the sector basis in Uganda for the year 2024. The developments that have happened in the various sectors, the services sector, the industry sector, the agriculture sector, so many sectors that have been really affected the year 2025. Now, of course, Uganda's economy is structured into the primary sectors. We have the agriculture, we have the industry and services, and each is actually experiencing significant developments contributing to the nation's economic growth. Now, agriculture remains the cornerstone for Uganda's economy, of course employing approximately 68% of the workforce and contributing about 24% on the gross domestic product in the fiscal year 2020 to 2023. Now, of course, the sector achieved a growth rate of about 5% during the period. That is driven by the favorable weather conditions and the government initiatives like the Paris Development Model, and which aims to enhance the agriculture productivity and the rural development. So that is a key aspect in there that we need to look into. Now, away from that, we also have the industry sector. Now, the industrial sector encompassed manufacturing, construction, of course, thinking about the mining, accounted for about 26.77%, according to the reports, that is of Uganda's gross domestic product. Now, a pivotal development in the anticipated commencement of commercial oil production, that is in the Albertine region, Graben Basin, projected to significantly boost economic growth. Now, the International Monetary Fund forecasts that oil production could actually propel Uganda's economic growth to the double digits, with an expected expansion of about 10.8% in that is in the 2025-2026 fiscal year. Yeah, we also know that the government has actually established a state-owned mining company that is to manage its equity stakes in mining operations, that is aiming to increase, that is Uganda's share of wealth from its mineral resources. And I think Uganda, because take a look at now recently the previous holiday. I mean, we're still in the festive season, actually. Yeah, till I think about 2nd January. So most of the spending, approximately, the festive season actually is one of the days where profit repatriation is quite very imminent. Take a look at most of people. Some people travel. Majority of the people travel into those countries. Now that is foreign currency that has left the country. Consider the goods that are purchased, for consumption during the festive season. It's all money that is spent getting out of this country. And the question is, for us in the festive season as a country, Uganda, where are we getting our money from? What is that place, or in any country, where we have positioned ourselves with any commodity that we know that during Christmas period, during the festive season, it could be even Easter or any day, we actually position in a way that we can sell something to that population, such that what has been sold is actually taken for consumption. Think about that. As we try to get the right word to really put it out there, but try to think of it that way. Try to think of it that way. Where we position ourselves to sell out to the rest of the world to celebrate the festive season. Think about it. But we are so positioned to spend too much. We spend too much. And that's why, like yesterday I was saying, if it comes to January and people say they don't have money, I'm trying to think really, And the funny thing is that none of the money was actually invested in a commodity that perhaps is manufactured locally, but from a commodity that is imported. So what has been, during this season, there is a lot of repatriation. We lose a lot of revenue, getting out of Uganda and heading to other countries because of the excessive expenditure, which doesn't even match the incomes. Think about that. The expenditure doesn't match the actual incomes, but because of peer pressure, we have it, we take it away. Think with me. Emerging, it's a festive season, and entirely, 70% of the population in Uganda decides to purchase materials that are made locally within. What could it be like for the country's economy in the coming 3 months? There'll be a lot of money. because no one would be saying they're broke. But you make the money from your shop and then you go purchase an item from another country. It could be anything. It could be anything because we know what Christmas really does, most especially to the people. There is a lot of peer influence to that. So this is one of the ways that we think our economy could actually be revived. We need to produce more. We need to produce more. Production, goods and services at the same time. Of course, despite the fact that now we're into the digital revolution, but the digital revolution is sustainable for certain countries, because at the level of growth that they have attained. Uganda, we're still on the step by step, trying to get there to the top. All right, now, let's take a look at the services sector. Now, the services sector is the largest contributor of Uganda's GDP. That is comprising of 41.65%, according to the results that were released in 2022. Now, in the fiscal year 2022 and 2023, in the sector was a primary driver of growth, expanding by 6.2%. Now, this growth is attributed to advancements, most especially in information and communication technology, talking about financial services and tourism at the same time. Now, the expansion of the mobile banking and digital financial services has definitely enhanced financial inclusion, of course, while the improvements in infrastructure and marketing have actually bolstered the tourism industry at the same time. So you can really see where this development really is coming into that line. Now, still as we proceed, like I said, the macroeconomic figures vis-a-vis the micro side. Now, this is what we see. Now, Uganda's nominal gross domestic product was actually estimated at 51.9 billion in 2023, with a GDP per capita of about 1,140. Now, the country has actually maintained an average real GDP growth rate of about 4.4% over the past decades. Now, inflation definitely has been managed effectively with the central bank at adjusting the key lending rate to about 9.7% in October 2024 to support economic transformation, while, of course, keeping inflation below the 5% target. So you can see where we're heading for the country, Uganda. Now, of course, winding this up, we see that in summary, Uganda's economic sectors have actually exhibited robust developments in agriculture, benefiting from the government initiatives. Of course, the industrial sector poised for significant boost from the oil production. I mean, if you realize that one of the biggest discussions that is actually going to be making huge rounds come 2025 is the production of oil. So we need to take keen eye onto that, and we know the possible beneficiaries. How a business can actually position itself to participate into the oil. We actually see that some of the commercial banks became partners into this, and they're willing to give the small-scale industries that are going to be subsidiaries of these particular production loans, such that they can actually be able to execute what they're executing, and that is in the long run. So oil is actually a big discussion as we speak right now in Uganda, oil exploration there. Now, let's review a report here from the International Monetary Fund, and it was still indicating exactly what the growth rate will be like when Uganda starts to extract oil. Now, the start of the commercial crude oil production, that is in Uganda's, is expected to propel economic growth into double digits. That is come the next financial year. That is according to the International Monetary Fund. Now, Uganda's economy would actually face a 10.8% growth in the 2025-2026 fiscal year, which starts definitely in July, up from the projection in 6%. That is in the previous period. That is according to what the International Monetary Fund said in a report published late. That was way back. This is about 3 months back. It was about in October when this report was actually figured out. Put out. Now, according to the IMF, these are the very words of the IMF. Now, growth is expected to strengthen and boosted by the start of oil production, which will make lasting improvement to the fiscal and the current account balances. This is according to what the International Monetary Fund said. Now, after nearly 20 years of delay, the East African countries finally expected to commence production and export of crude oil. That is next year from the fields in its west. Yeah. Now, the commercial reserves were definitely discovered way back in 2006, but the range of factors, that is including disputes with oil firms over development strategy and the lack of requisite infrastructure, have actually delayed the production. Now, at the peak, Uganda is actually seen pumping 240,000 barrels of oil per day, and from its reserves, which are about estimated to 6.5 billion United States dollars, if you look at it that way. And remember, like we said, most part will be retained domestically and part will be exported, and 60% is going to be exported, and about 60,000 barrels will actually be maintained, and about 270,000 barrels will be exported to the country. And now it explains exactly what it fits in the International Monetary Fund's picture, what it's trying to share into that way. Now, the International Monetary Fund say the Uganda's foreign exchange reserves have continued to decline and urged the intervention by the central bank, that is including a reduction in government imports, along with stepped up forex purchases and the greater exchange rate flexibility. Now, we know that the country's forex reserves fell to 3.2 billion, that is in June, down from 3.7 billion in December 2023 because of the high cost of servicing debt. You know, the government's ability to secure cheap credit and limited hard currency purchases. That's according to the International Monetary Fund, suggesting in that way. And well, let me end put this to an end, this particular time. Let me go for the break, and we shall be returning with entertainment as we're going to be reviewing what is happening and those big events in the entertainment industry, both local and internationally. Stick around.